Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about a serious topic. I'm going to be talking about dealing with death, dealing with it within Mormonism, and my experience dealing with it outside of Mormonism. So let's start with in Mormonism. So within Mormonism, we believe that there is life after this life. So death doesn't seem so final to us. And I actually like that part about Mormonism, not having a final feeling towards death. And I do like the idea of an afterlife, especially the Mormon afterlife, where you're continually learning and growing and creating. I like the idea of families being together forever. I really like my family, so that'd be nice, seeing loved ones again, just always having that blessing of eternal families. One thing within Mormonism, though, that I struggled with were the kingdoms. So after you're judged, there's the celestial kingdom and the telestial kingdom and the terrestrial kingdom. As far as I understand it, the terrestrial kingdom is earth life, so about as good as life is here. And the telestial is a step up, and celestial is even higher. And then within the celestial kingdom, there's this higher part in the celestial kingdom called exaltation. The higher you get up in this rank, the more privileges you'll have in the next life. But in order to get higher up, you have to follow the rules. So it's not just free to anyone. You have to live a very certain type of life to qualify for that highest level. And the reason I had a hard time with this within Mormonism was I didn't like the class system. I felt like what would make the next life better is if that we weren't separated into classes anymore. And another thing that I really struggled with was, how can families be together forever if we're going to be separated into different kingdoms? Now, I don't know a single Mormon family that has everyone they love on the path to exaltation or the celestial kingdom. If you are a Mormon and every person close to you that you love is on the path to exaltation, I give you a round of applause. Like, that is incredible. That's like unheard of. Whenever I had a family member who strayed away from the gospel, like I have, it was really painful for me because I felt like that affected us being together forever. It felt like a real big loss. And this became a really big problem for me when I had someone really close to me die. You know, there were still people I wanted to be with in the next life, even if they weren't perfect. And so I was really uncomfortable with this idea that in the next life I wouldn't be with those people. So let's fast forward to my late 20s when I lose a family member that I was very, very close to. I had a few struggles during this experience. My first struggle was everyone telling me that it was okay because we were going to be together forever. I hated that line within Mormonism because it doesn't allow any room for the grief cycle. I hate the idea that when families have lost a loved one and they're mourning, that members and church leaders come in and say, it's okay, don't be sad, you'll be together forever. Even if you believe you're going to be together forever, being separated from someone you love is a big deal. And you have a right to go through that grieving process without anyone telling you that you don't have to feel sad. You should totally give yourself permission to be sad. I don't know anything sadder in life than losing a loved one. So I wish people would stop saying that. I wish people would stop doing that. Just let people grieve the separation. Even if you believe in another life, even if you believe that you'll be together forever, that still doesn't fix that at this moment you are physically separated and you can't be together in this moment. So let people have that space. Let them grieve. It's okay. The second thing I had a hard time with was I loved this family member so much, but they didn't always follow all the rules that Mormonism set out in order to get to the celestial kingdom and be exalted. And when I thought about the celestial kingdom and exaltation, I couldn't even really see that person even wanting that. And that made my grieving really hard. Not only was I grieving the loss of a loved one, but I was starting to question the afterlife and what I even wanted. Could the afterlife be happy if it didn't have the people I loved? During this time, I really started to struggle with what they call sad heaven, where what we've been taught to believe all of our lives to be this good and wonderful thing is really sad for some of us. And I don't know if every member has experienced this sad heaven concept, but I have, and it was really hard for me to hold my theology from that point on when it came to the afterlife. Okay, now let's fast forward to I'm starting to question my religion, and I'm going through my faith crisis. And I realized that if I continue down this path, I'm going to have to change my views about everything. And one of those things that I'm really nervous to change my views on is death. And just thinking about someone dying and how I'm going to experience that without religion caused me a lot of anxiety. Well, I didn't have to wait too long. 3 months after leaving the church, we lost a family member on my husband's side that we were really close to. And I was able to go through my first mourning process outside of the church. Because I'm not sure what I believe anymore, I had to accept that there was a possibility that I might never see this person again. And that was a hard thing to do, but I really tried to lean into that and let myself grieve in this idea. This funeral was the first non-Mormon funeral I was able to really be a part of. And there were a few things that I really did like about it. I liked how it really was a tribute to that person's life and not so much a platform to preach doctrine. So all the focus was on that person, their contributions, and the life they led. There wasn't any doctrine that got mixed into it or any time that was taken away from the person that we were mourning. And I really, really appreciated that. I just loved that part. Especially going back to my previous experience with the family member on my side that died. And I had a lot of conflict with them teaching doctrine over the pulpit because I wasn't sure that that's what that person even really wanted or stood for. That caused me a lot of conflict during my grieving process. So I really did enjoy this difference between a religious funeral and a non-religious funeral. During my grieving process, I really realized that I couldn't just say, everything's okay, I'll see him again. I really had to go through all the stages of grieving, and I had to find comfort in a different way. Where I finally found my comfort was looking at his life, treasuring those memories we had together, realizing how much he taught me. I realized that the best way to honor him moving forward isn't to say, I hope I see you again someday, but to take the good that he put out in the world, honor him through your life. Because even though he is physically gone, his memory can live with us. A piece of him can continue through us. We can continue to do the good that he taught us to do through his example. Whenever the separation gets too difficult, I just try to go back to that space of comfort where it's okay. We had good time together and we have many good memories and we learned a lot from him. And we can honor him, like I said, by moving forward. And while I wish that he was still here, going through the grief of his death made me appreciate my own life more and made me appreciate all the people that I do have here right now. I have so many good people. And I'd have to say that I'm just a little more intentional with every person in my life, with the time that I have. You know, when I have time to connect with someone, I try to make it intentional. I try to make it count. And I thought about a lot about what I want my legacy to be, what I want to do with the time that I have. And it just makes me grateful for every day I wake up and every opportunity I've been given to experience something new, to connect with someone, to be creative, to find joy. It's given me a reason to celebrate life. So there we go. That's what I learned. And it did give me a healthy respect for people that are still in the church. I do think that religion does provide some easy answers, especially around death. I wouldn't want to take that away from anyone who's not ready. And the message that you can have forever families and be with them together again, I can see how that could be really helpful to some people. There might be some people that can't cope with death, and if the idea that they can be together forever helps them get out of bed in the morning and helps them move on with their life, then I think religion or Mormonism has given them a gift. So I guess what I'm saying is, even though I have a lot of issues with Mormonism right now because I've left and I'm going on this crazy journey, this is one part of Mormonism that I can still have a lot of respect for, that if the idea of an afterlife gives people hope for the future, then I think that's great. That's a gift that they're giving people. I also want to say that I've seen this message do a lot of harm to Mormons. Within Mormonism, the idea of a next life can do some good and it can do some harm. Some of the harm that I've seen it do is people live for the next life. So when their life is not what they want it to be, instead of doing something to fix it or doing something to change it, they just continue saying that their next life will be better. And they almost have this idea in their head that the more they sacrifice themselves and the more they hurt, the better their next life will be. And I see people in those cycles just living for the next life and not appreciating today and not fighting for the now. That I just wish that they wouldn't think about the next life, that they'd think about now and the difference that they can make now. I wish they'd be able to find more joy in this life and not focus on their suffering and how it will make their next life better. Okay, guys, so those are my thoughts on religion and death and leaving religion and a faith crisis and a faith transition. Thank you for coming and watching today. If you had any experiences with death within Mormonism or death after leaving Mormonism, I'd love to hear your stories in the comments. If you have any advice for someone who's mourning after a faith crisis, I'm sure everyone would appreciate it in the comments. And I hope everything's well with you guys. Hope that you can find the joy in today. And good luck to all of you out there. Love you. Bye. Also, I'd love it if you would support me. A great way to support me is to subscribe, but other good ways to support me are watching other videos I have, leaving me comments, liking this video, sharing it with a friend. I really appreciate my subscribers I have now. You guys are so sweet and really uplifting in the comments. I really appreciate you guys for listening to me.